And welcome to the latest episode of Greifenhorst, which is my medieval fantasy let's build set in heavily modded Minecraft. And if you've been watching this series, you've seen that we've been building kind of like the underground dungeon portion of what will be someday a full-blown castle, town, village, whatever you want to say. And in the last episode, I spent some time away from building to kind of show you the method to this madness. And now I'm excited to get back to it. Now, while I was coming up with the plan, and in fact, the last few episodes while I've been working on this, the realization was that I'm moving an incredible amount of material. And you usually want to kind of get some type of decent storage solution going early on anyway. So I was already headed that way, but then I was thinking, wow, with this new realization, I really need to up my storage game sooner rather than later. So that's when I started working on this this expansion of the basic storage system we already put in place. And I'm looking forward to getting back to that. But, there's just like everything else, or just like all the other survival building series I do, the trick is you can't really focus on any one thing, because the building and the survival, it's really kind of like a matter of juggling a whole bunch of separate tasks, sometimes completely unrelated tasks, to achieve a result, or the unified result at the end. But some of those tasks can be very different from each other, and that's both a hindrance and a problem. Because if I could really just focus on one thing and just do that wholesale for like hours and hours and hours, I would just kind of like get into the zone and find some efficiencies I could really manipulate and exploit, and I could get the job done really fast. But there's two problems with that. One, there's other stuff I need to be doing in the meantime, because like there's certain things that are tied to time. Oh, speaking of time, it's dark out here. Things like crops growing, trees growing, that type of stuff, and those are things that I kind of need to rely on. So it's a matter of doing what I can while those other things happen in parallel, then getting to them, doing what I need to do with them, and then setting them to grow again, then going back to what I was doing. So there's that element, right? Like working in time slices. Two, if I focus on the same thing for a really long time, I would definitely get a lot of mileage out of that, but I'd get sick of doing it. And I probably wouldn't want to do it. I'd get burned out. And perhaps more importantly, I think you'd get sick of it. you would get burned out on it, right? And so the juggling, I think, is just the way it's going to be. Hold on, let me figure out what I'm doing here. Okay, I got it. Why climb a tree when you can just zap it from the bottom? Wow, this tree's taller than I thought. But, that's... Oops, that is not what I meant to do. So this is the beauty of the Ars Nouveau mod. I gotta tell you, though, the thing about the Ars Nouveau mod, things like these spells where I don't carry the... Well, I do carry the tools around, but I don't use them as often as I would in other ones, because like this axe, most of the time I only use the axe to take the bark off of logs, right? But so Ars Nouveau, with the use of spells and stuff, I get pretty spoiled with this, especially because these spells can be modified on the go to fit the situation I need. So I think that is incredibly cool. In a lot of ways, I would like to see more of that in like tabletop role-playing games, right? One of the, I know I'm going on a tangent here, and I know not everybody here is a tabletop role player, but I like the idea of a spellcaster using their expertise to modify spells on the fly, right? So, you know, a guy casts a fireball, but in this case, he wants to cast a fireball at half the size but greater intensity. Or maybe he wants to cast a really big fireball but at much lower intensity. So he hits more targets for less damage. You know, stuff like that. Because otherwise, you know, your spellcaster, wherever, they're not really experts. They're just a guy who can cast a spell, just like any other guy who can cast that same type of spell, right? It really, and going back to one of the things I love about tabletop role-playing games anyway, is the ability for characters, DMs, to think outside the box of the rules, but within the box of the campaign setting, right? And make things happen if they make sense, right? Maybe there's no rule covering it in the book, but it certainly would make sense in terms of game setting. So make it happen, right? Because I didn't really think I was going to go down this road, but you know, tabletop role-playing games in general, the whole point of a role-playing game really is collaborative storytelling, right? It's not tabletop role-playing games, especially. It's not about win and lose. You know, it's not like achieve a high score and press on, or achieve a high score and then see if you can beat it. It's about a story, right? And characters are an active part of that story. And make 10 of these. And then, but you know, the DM or referee, if you prefer, game master, however you want to, you know, label them, they certainly they have the greatest flexibility, because they are in a lot of ways kind of like the facilitator of the collaborative storytelling. They set the scene, they set the rules, they set all these different things. But then once the, I was going to say the camera starts rolling, I guess that's actually kind of a good way to put it. But once play ensues, you know, he or she is almost as much of a bystander and a spectator as the players are, right? So it's just more flexible. Now, in later years, and in this case, I'm particularly thinking about D&D 5th edition. It just seems to me that tabletop role-playing mechanics are geared around changing the play experience more into like a video game experience. I'm going to cut this down since we've got these trees now belong down in our bigger fields. But as I was saying, I think the rules are set up in such a way just kind of like not to facilitate role-playing and in-depth character interactions, but more along the lines of to keep combat and action moving, right? And I'm not particularly thrilled with that, but then again, oh boy. But then again, I don't say it's wrong, because, you know, as my philosophy on games, whether video games, role-playing games, or whatever, or even life generally itself, is that you do it your way, right? And I really have no problem with it, unless it prevents me from doing things my way, or anybody else from doing things their way, right? So, but you know, I think like D&D went through these phases. Like when Gary Gygax came out with the original D&D and then Advanced D&D, he was very much like, this is the way it is, right? And then second and third editions, the focus was shifted largely to, we're giving you a framework, but you do what you want to do. If you want to make, stuff up or modify, knock yourself out. And that, the whole open gaming license was just that, right? Is like, here's the rules. You're free to do whatever you want with them. Make your own stuff around them, whatever. And in recent years, I didn't really do anything with D&D 4, and I briefly came back to 5, and and in 5th edition they got all prescriptive again. Not entirely. I mean, it's still, they still talk about making your own stuff up and acknowledge your own brew and stuff, but I think they've really, as Wizards of the Coast, has walked away from the heavy emphasis on building a platform on which you could build whatever you really want. Anyway, I don't remember how I got started on this or where it's going with it. Ars Nouveau is pretty cool because they give you these spells, or they give you the ingredients, the bits and bobs you need to put together whatever spell or chain of effects, whatever, however you want to look at it, to achieve whatever it is you want to achieve. And I love that, right? I absolutely love it. And what's more is, what makes it unusual is there's lots of Minecraft mods that let you do that for like machines and stuff in your base, or maybe for tools that you can carry around with you. But with Ars Nouveau, it's about your arsenal of spells, which replace the tools you normally carry around with you, and that's pretty awesome. So I'm gonna set this up for the future. So I haven't talked about it in a while, but one of my favorite things with the Farmer's Delight and Delightful mod is to create these chicken sandwiches. They stack up into a stack of 64. They really are powerful items to have with you for food. They make steaks, vanilla steaks look like, I don't know, lollipops or some cookies, right? Cookies have almost like no staying power in the game. There you go. But they're pretty awesome. And they only require a few basic ingredients, but cabbages is one of them. And cabbages grow slow, and you only get one head per plot, right? So I'm going to plop down a bunch of this organic compost here. And when it turns into rich soil, then we will be able to grow cabbages like nobody's business, and that will keep us in the chicken sandwich biz for quite a long time. Now, if you look, I have a nice full field of wheat, but you see most of this field is already running on rich soil. And so because it's been sitting here untouched for so long, you don't really notice a difference. But I'm going to replant here, and later in this episode we'll return and you'll see how all the stuff in rich soil is ready to go already, and the stuff not on rich soil is not. Something else to remember too is I am running with Serene Seasons, and Serene Seasons, of course, bring seasons to Minecraft. And just like in real life, different plants have different life cycles that are based on the seasons. So wheat is not typically a early spring crop, and this is early spring. So wheat, doesn't do well with Serene Seasons now, because I think we're on like the 5th day of spring. But like later in the summer and the fall, wheat will grow crazy. But that's why what we're seeing here is it's still early spring. That's why we even have snow in the taiga biome, and the wheat's going to grow really slow, but not if you put it on this rich farmland. I mean, look at that. I even have one at the next stage. I'm planting it. I'm not even done planting it, and it's already growing. And then we'll plant it on the normal soil, and we'll see it go basically nowhere. So a little bit of interesting experiment, though. I already know how it's turning out. Look at that. We got grass growing, or wheat growing all over the place already. Just standing here, and hadn't gotten off the plot yet. Anyway, yeah, day 5 of early spring. Now, spring seasons, they don't put names on the months, so you have early, middle, and late for each season. 4 seasons, early, middle, late. That's 12. I line them up to months. In my book, early spring would be March. That would mean middle spring, April. Late spring is May. Early summer is June. Middle summer is July. Late summer is August. Early fall is September. Middle fall is October. Late fall is November. Early winter is December. Middle winter is January. And late winter is February. Now, that doesn't line up with the calendar, the actual calendar. Yeah, okay. But that's the way I always learned it anyway, right? Is long before I was aware that, like, September 21st was the first day of autumn. In my book, first day of autumn was the day you went back to school, right? Or the first day after Labor Day, and that's usually, that's very early September. So that's what I'm sticking with here. Now, on the flip side, spring seasons, as a digital creation, is nice and clean and logical. And what I mean by that is, if you look at a calendar, our actual calendar is made up of 365 days, which is not easily divisible by 7 into weeks, and 365 days with 12 months, but some months have 30 days, some months have 31 days, and one month has 28 or 29, depending on the year, which is, a cuckoo system. But then again, that's what real life is all about, is cuckoo systems. But spring seasons, they kind of said, yeah, we got to split this up evenly. So the way I set it up is 12 months of 30 days each. That gives me 360 days. So my year is 5 days short of a normal year. And when it comes to February, we will have a February 29th and a February 30th every year. So it's a little freaky deaky, but that's okay. I think it's pretty cool. I still think it's pretty cool to have the seasons and the effects and how they impact the game. Make it worthwhile. Because, one of the things is, I don't know about you. I don't know about your Minecraft journey. But, with vanilla Minecraft, I really did enjoy it for many, many, many years. And in early years, there was nothing else out there like it, right? But here we are, a decade and a half later, and there's a lot of games out there that are like this, well, like vanilla Minecraft, in a lot of ways, but better, right? And when I say better, a little less arbitrariness and a little more complexity and logic, and in some cases realism, right? So those appeal to me, which is why now I am firmly rooted in modded Minecraft. I really don't have any desire to go back to vanilla Minecraft. It just doesn't do it for me anymore. Speaking of not doing it anymore, why are those 2 blocks still there? Why are they not coming down? Ooh, I got a lot of saplings out of that. Anyway, I hit a tangent early on. I didn't even warm up. I just went blah, 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 blah. Oh, speaking of blah, blah, blah. Hey, pal. Yeah, you hold on to that and hold on to this. Oh. So, we discussed a while back that it appears that there's kind of like a unintended mod interaction between Ars Nouveau with the spells and enchanted items, right? So if I'm holding a weapon, in this case, I'm holding my weapon and it has Vorpal on it, which, you know, Vorpal has a tendency to part enemies with their heads. Then when I go and use my magic missile spell, what I like to call photons, but when I use that spell, it temporarily takes the characteristics of my weapon and applies it to the bolts from the spell. In this case, that means that I'm hitting guys with my magic missile, but they're losing their heads, just like if I was running around with my Vorpal weapon. And we've seen the same thing too, like when I use my Big B's Paxil spell. You know, that breaks blocks, but if I've been holding, say, my my diamond pickaxe that has excavate on it, well, excavate will mine 9 blocks at a time, and then if I rapidly switch to Big B's Paxil and fire it, it too will excavate 9 at a time. So, just a little tip there if you're using Ars Nouveau. Unintended mod interactions can be, well, they're always interesting, but they can sometimes be good, and sometimes they can be bad. So in my New Londinium series, I recently discovered that while I could definitely make dirt path blocks like usual, when I used Silk Touch to pick up those blocks, it wasn't picking them up. I was just picking up regular dirt blocks. And long story short, I did some experimentation, and I found that there's actually one of the mods has a way to make dirt path blocks in your inventory, right? By the use of a special tool, which, gosh, I mean, I probably fill a whole storage section with just special tools for mods, right? As Alton Brown would say, you don't want unitaskers, you want multitaskers. But in the world of modded Minecraft, they're all unitaskers. This corn's doing pretty good. Now, corn is not a early spring crop, but I don't think it's set up for serene season. So that's something I might want to think about adding the tags. And speaking of tags, I think that's the problem with the problem I was seeing in New Londinium. No, I don't want to get into that. But look at all this. This is all growing gangbusters already. Anyhow, I think it's blocks that you need. I'm pretty sure it's the name of the mod. Blocks that you need has the creation of a thing called a paver that you can make these. Dirt path blocks in your inventory. And I think that what they probably did is they probably altered tags or something. So on purpose or by accident, I don't know. But I think that's why I can no longer pick up dirt path blocks using Silk Touch. But I created this paver item, and the paver item's cheap. It's a deep slate cobble plus 2 sticks and a gold ingot, and it works fine. It works great. So okay, no autopsy, no foul. But yeah, it's I really don't know how I got started on that tangent either. Man, it's a day for tangents. It's been a pretty good week. Last week ended on a high note, and this week is starting pretty good, and so I'm just feeling good. And I don't know. It's partly the job hunt. I mean, last week I had 2 screening interviews, and a recruiter reach out to me from out of the blue. That was good. Plus, there's a guy who wanted to hire me a couple years ago that now he still wants to hire me now. So, but he's putting together a bid for one of his client companies, and he really wants me to head that team. Man, I hate those bats. Anyway, I gotta kill off these drawers because they were facing the right direction, but they were in the wrong spot for the direction they were facing. So now everything's back to normal, and I didn't realize I didn't put a extra. Can I not jump high enough from this thing? So this, that's just the same problem all over again. Okay, here we go. So anyway, so that was all good. I mean, with a little luck, maybe I can find a job before the holidays start. Because let me tell you, unless you're going to work retail, and once upon a time I thought that was permanently off the table, but that's not off the table anymore. But unless you're working retail, usually holidays are horrible trying to find a something in the corporate world, because once Thanksgiving hits, a lot of companies that's not what I meant to do. A lot of companies essentially go into limbo, right? Because so many people are out between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Even if they're not out the entire time, people rotate in and out, that almost nothing gets done. A lot of times hiring decisions and interview loops and all that jazz, they get slowed way down or just put off until the new year. So, but yeah, and then aside from that, we've been having some good multiplayer gaming sessions. That's great. Had some epiphanies here on the channel, and I already talked about those changes coming in, adding more of a storytelling element to most of my series, which I'm kind of looking forward to. Though I am kind of thinking, if I'm going to do that right, it might slow down the release schedule. And there's slowing down the release schedule. I think I would prefer to crank them out more often, and I think for those of you who are coming back and enjoying the content, I think you would prefer to see them more often. But on the other hand, if I'm really gonna pour extra effort and probably, hopefully, more quality and interest into them, I think that's ultimately what people would want as well. So I mean, I think all of us would like to see it happen more often, but all of us would also like to see better and better stuff. So something's got to give. And I put in just basic stone. And normally when you put something into a storage drawers network for which you don't have a drawer assigned, it would pop into the first empty drawer. But I see it. There's 2 stone. But I didn't have a drawer assigned for it. And I still don't see a drawer assigned for it. But it's clearly in the storage system, because I can pull it out and I can put it into the inventory. So I put corn in there. There's no corn in the system already. So if I see an ear of corn someplace, and I don't. No corn. Okay, let me think about this. This has implications, but I'm not quite sure what those are yet. So I'm thinking, okay, so what I'm thinking it might be doing is that if I interface with the drawers directly, of course, it just wouldn't be one of my Minecraft episodes without random music from Sophisticated Backpacks. Okay, so what I'm thinking is this: if I interface with the drawers directly, like I wasn't running another mod, then you can see that it puts a picture representation of the contents of that drawer on the front. And it seems that drawers will obey their limit, their content limit, because, you know, at one point I had to, you know, you can put 2048 of a given item, of an item that stacks and stacks to 64. You can put up to 2048 in a single one drawer block, but and then you have to expand it past that. But ooh, look at this. This is dirt already. Okay, rich dirt. But what we just saw, using Ars Nouveau as the interface, using Ars Nouveau directly seems to be working like it doesn't care about individual drawer limits, in that, like, you can see I put the stone and the corn in there, and it didn't reserve a specific drawer for the stone or the corn, but we could see this, the stone and the corn in the inventory in Ars Nouveau. So what I'm kind of thinking, and I might have to experiment to confirm this, but what I'm kind of thinking is that if we deal with the inventory through Ars Nouveau, not through the storage drawers directly themselves, look how fast that grows. It's awesome. Then what it's doing is that Ars Nouveau is just treating the entire storage network as a number of inventory slots, and it's not really paying strict attention to, like, which inventory slot goes into which particular drawer, and therefore how many inventory slots are reserved for, you know, stone bricks or corn or whatever, right? As opposed to storage drawers, you know, you allocate a single drawer to a given item, and that defines how much you can have of that item before it either then grabs another drawer, or if there's no drawers available, it says, I'm full. So what this means is, I thought I could mix wood to get different, get to just a generic chest. I thought you could use archwood to get an archwood chest through every compat. See, I can get that to get a coconut chest. Okay. Anyway, so I'm thinking if that is, I gotta experiment to confirm that, but if that is what's happening, maybe I don't really need to set my storage up as formally as I am, right? Oops. Did it again. Anyway. So what I'm saying there is, like, for example, I could build the same storage network, but I could just cluster everything as tightly together as I want and bury it, and just have the one controller accessible to the bookworm. And at that point, you know, I would have upgraded all those drawers early on, and then I just have a massively huge inventory system that I can just toss stuff in through Ars Nouveau and pull stuff out through Ars Nouveau and never even see the drawers. So that's a possibility. Because, like in New Londinium, right? We're just using storage drawers, and there's no affiliated storage mod to go with it. In that case, since I'm using the drawers directly, I need those depictions on each drawer, and I need them to apply directly to what's in that particular drawer, because that's how I get stuff in and out. I mean, I built a central drop-off cabinet, right? So you just open it up and throw your stuff in there, and it sorts it to wherever it's supposed to go automagically. So that's a huge time saver. But if I want to get something out, I want to say, oh, I need to go get some dandelions and some sand. Well, I kind of, need to make sure that I have my stuff organized in such a way that I know where the dandelion and sand drawers are, and with the pictures on the front, I can zero in on the specific drawer pretty readily. So that's the question. That's my quandary. I did not expect that. But, so I would love to hear what you guys think. Because, some of you guys sometimes speak out, and I truly appreciate it. Especially because some of you guys are pretty darn bright and clever and have some really great ideas. So, quit hoarding the ideas all to yourself and share it with the rest of the class. Or me. And I'll share it with the class. But, yeah, that would be interesting. And I was kind of leaning that way because, in the last episode when I was showing you my plans, I showed that there would be a workshop level, and at the workshop level, I was going to set up interfaces into the storage system so that you wouldn't have to go down into storage to get stuff, right? You could just, you're at a machine and you're doing smelting or whatever. And you can just run a few blocks over to the interface and grab some more material or drop some material off and then, continue your work. So, yeah, what is that? I don't know. Interesting. It is interesting. So now, I'm going to have to spend some time thinking about it. I'm going to have to do some more experimentation. Speaking of experimentation, again, we did the New Londinium episode, and something else we learned is that if you have, what we learned is that I wasn't able to use Silk Touch to pick up path blocks, but we were trying some different things, and somebody brought up a very good point, which is if you have a shovel that's enchanted with excavate, right, you dig up nine blocks at a time. So if you use the shovel to lay down a path to convert dirt blocks into dirt path blocks, and it has excavate on it, do you make 9 dirt path blocks at the same time? I thought it was an excellent question, and so I experimented, and the answer is no. Which is too bad. But I don't remember where the excavate spell comes from, but if you're watching this and or better yet, if you're watching this and you happen to be on the mod team that created the excavate spell, that's just a bug in your ear. Maybe you should add that functionality, right? So the shovel actions, with excavate on, extend to laying down paths. That'd be awesome. Anyway, what I'm also discovering is we've made a mess of chests, right? I mean, a bunch. And I make a bunch, and I lay them all down, and I'm hardly putting a dent into these 3 modules, these 3 vaults that I created. I got to be honest, I'm not entirely, we're 2/3 of the way through this episode, looking at the clock, and I'm still working at filling up the first vault with drawers, and that is a lot. I'm putting a hefty dent in it, but 1, 2, 3, here. So, yeah, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish this in this episode. I don't know. I mean, that is a lot of storage there. Even more so if Ars Nouveau doesn't differentiate. Because, you know, when using, again, storage drawers without any other mods, you know, each individual drawer can only hold one type of item. So with that being said, there's a lot of different types. We've discussed that. And so I need a lot of different drawers, right? But now I'm kind of thinking, like, maybe you make 10 drawers that are fully maxed out on storage capacity, and that's it. That's your whole storage system, right? You're done, because Ars Nouveau will just pick and choose as needed, you know, out of it, without paying any attention to the restrictions of, you know, you can only have room for X amount of stone blocks and X amount of stone brick blocks and X amount of wheat. Speaking of wheat, look at that. You can see the stuff on rich soil is pretty much all grown up, and the stuff without the rich soil isn't. So this is why you want this stuff. Now, you know, you add to that an automated harvesting system, and you know, you are cranking out a lot of produce over time. And Ars Nouveau is a pretty productive automation system, right? If you have the source, and generating the source, it's kind of like a loop on itself, right? Because these source berries are called source berries because I think, and they're really fast growing, and I think that's all part of the plan, so that, you know, you can grow the berries, and you have items in Ars Nouveau that will generate source while the berries are growing. Then you harvest the berries and get them growing again, and it's just a constant cycle where the berries are growing all the time, they're being harvested all the time, and that's just producing source all the time. And I think that's why they call them source berries. And so you get a few fields of those, and that's how you're powering your whole little magical empire. Anyway, so yeah. So something else now that I'm thinking about the inventory system, something else that dawned on me is a lot of times I would set up 2 inventory systems. One would be for food, and that would be in or near the kitchen, and then one for everything else. And it's just now, I mean, we're on what, episode 25, 26 of this series, and it's just dawning on me that I've only been thinking about one system of storage, because, you know, now that I'm picking up these carrots, what I have been doing is I keep once I have a full stack of something, I've been composting the rest. But now that we're getting up to storage, pretty soon what I'll do is I'll compost half and store half. And I just realized if I'm going to store half, the only place to put it would be in the big old monster storage system that I just have been building. And if I want to eat something, I don't want to have to go all the way to the bottom of the dungeon to get it. Food for thought, so to speak. Gosh. There we go. See, look at that. I didn't strip the bark off any of them this time. third time's a charm. You can teach an old dog new tricks. It just takes a lot of time and a lot of repetition. The older the dog, the more time and repetition. So, anyway. Oh, speaking of old. So, YouTube, because creating on YouTube shouldn't come as a surprise that I watch a lot of YouTube, right? I mean, the channel ultimately was started because I wanted to create content that I would want to watch, because I couldn't find a lot of stuff that I wanted to watch. So I watched a lot of YouTube. And of course, I did try premium for a while, but that's only because it gave me free premium on a trial run. And I kind of liked it, but not liked it enough to pay a bunch of bucks each month. So back to watching ads. But you tell me, right? I mean, as a creator, they are all over me when I submit a video to, flag it in case I'm putting in like naughty stuff or swearing a lot, or, they're all over me to classify my content so only the right people see it. And I get that. And I'm good with that. I'm totally good with that. But when it comes to ads, they don't put the same type of effort into what ads they show you. In other words, the algorithm, I mean, if you're seeing this somehow, the algorithm put it in front of you at some point, and you decide, yeah, I'll watch it, and thank God you did. But there's a lot of other people who have no idea I exist, and that's because the algorithm never bothered putting it in front of them, because based off of all this different data, it decides who and who it will not show stuff to, right? But when it comes to ads, boy, I'll tell you, it's like some of these ads, like, do they know me at all? Because they would know that this, not only am I not interested in this ad's kind of making me mad, right? You don't want me to be mad at your advertisers. The whole point of the advertising is for me to like the advertisers. And I think it's always been kind of bad, but I think it got really bad this summer when they flipped a bit about they've had the age restricted accounts forever, but I mean they are trying to protect kids. I'm all for that. Totally agree with that. And they put some AI intelligence behind it to try to figure out whether or not you should have AI restrictions on your account. Yeah, and I generally support that too. That's okay. And my account never went age restricted. I mean, probably because my YouTube account is almost as old as YouTube itself, and even if I was like 2 years old when that came out, I'm almost an adult. So, but I wasn't 2 years old. I was way beyond 2. So clearly they know I'm an adult. But see, that's kind of like the problem, because when they did all that account restriction stuff, I started seeing totally new sets of ads that I had never seen on YouTube before, including ads that were trying to sell me pharmaceuticals that would help me and my relations with my wife at night, if you know what I mean. The type of one that says, if this medicine's still working after 4 hours, you should go see a doctor. And I was like, whoa, what makes you think I'm interested in this, right? I mean, it's the type of stuff, it's like, oh, well, we want to make sure that we don't show naughty bits to kids, but now, if you're not a kid, we will go ahead and show you naughty bits, whether you're interested in that or not, right? It's like, where did that come from? It got so bad that I had to block ads. So it's like, wow. And then the other type of ad that I'm seeing a lot now, and it's got me wondering, are these clearly spammer, scammer type ads where like there's this one where they go, hey, we've got this lighter that the government is gonna ban, and you need to get it before it's fully banned. You know, we only have a limited supply. And they talk about this super lighter. Okay, well, first of all, lighters are not a big deal anymore. You know, back in the days when like 80% of the population smoked, sure. But nowadays, okay, lighters aren't a big deal. But the point is they say, look at this awesome lighter. They're going to ban it because, you know, it can cut through steel and jump over buildings in single bound and stop trains. But and all you need is a USB connection to recharge it. But then while they say that, they're showing you not an electric lighter, because electric lighters use electrical resistance to heat up an element that then you could use to light a cigarette or whatever. It's kind of hard to light paper or something on fire with it though. But they're showing you a lighter that has a blue chemical flame jetting from it. Now, you don't generate those types of flames with an electric current. Certainly not one current coming out of USB port. That would melt down your USB port. But clearly the lighter is not what it's cracked out to be. It's a scam. And not only did I, and that one kept popping up over, and I was like, man, this is interesting. This is not what I expected to be hanging out in my basement. Hold still. So okay, so I blocked that. Clearly those lighters are bogus. The ads are bogus, but then they're showing me all sorts of commercials for more junk like that, right? Stuff that you expect to see in your email, in your junk email, you know, and right there with the letter from the guy who's supposed to be the finance minister of Nigeria or something, right? Part of the royal family or whatever. Oh, we've got $1 billion and we don't know how to spend it. We need your help. Sure you do. I'm pretty sure nobody needs help, my help, particularly, in figuring out how to spend money. Yeah, I can assure you that if I had $1 bazillion, I'm not reaching out to anybody for help in spending it. So, thank you. Anyway, my point in all of this is YouTube is very careful and choosy about how you classify your video as a creator to make sure that it goes to the right audience members. But that's only for the content. When it comes to ads, they're like, hey, these guys are paying us money. If they want to show it to 5-year-olds, then as long as it doesn't show like any nudity, yeah, we'll show it to 5-year-olds, I guess. Or in the case of like, you know, the adult restricted stuff, if I'm an adult, then hey, they'll show me anything and anything that the advertiser's willing to pay for. I would like to, as a I'm saying this, but I think they might have a system, but I'll double check. But as a consumer, I would like to go put some flags up as to what ads I'm willing to see, right? I'd like to basically say, give me some keywords, some radio buttons or check boxes, and let me go pick and choose what I do and do not want to see ads for, right? Instead of you just forcing, you know, offensive ads down my throat. Anyway, I don't know. You know, don't forget, I am old and curmudgeon-y. You know, I'm only a few years away from sitting on the porch and yelling at the kids to get off my lawn. So, with that said, maybe I'm just being a crotchety old fart about this, right? Maybe it's no real big deal. And feel free to tell me that in the comments. If you say, come on, man, loosen up. Tell me. But then again, I suspect some of you are probably kind of feeling the same way I am. It's like, come on. You know, I accept. You're showing me, you give me YouTube for free. I totally accept then that you know, my responsibility then is to watch ads. I even actually watch some ads. I don't cut them off as soon as it hits skip, but not always. But you know, meet me halfway here. Show me stuff that I am reasonably interested in, or at the very least, show me whatever you want, as long as it's not something I flagged as offensive or I don't want to see. Right? It's a two-way street. But, you know, as a PM, I understand you go where the money is. And in this case, advertisers are going to say, I want to reach a given demographic, and I'm going to pay for it. And YouTube's like, okay, we'll put you in front of those people. And even if it's not something that they're interested in, the people footing the bill, that's what they want. So, like much else in life, follow the money, right? Money makes things happen. And whoever has the money, they're the ones who decide what happens. So, sounds incredibly cynical. Maybe it is. But I am closing in on wrapping up my 6th decade on the planet. And after 6 decades of watching the world around me, experiencing the world around me, I think I've earned the right to be a little cynical. I was quite the optimist and naive bumpkin back in the day. Now I'm just a bumpkin. And yeah, I can still be naive, I guess, but yeah, you know, that's the thing about life, right? If it doesn't kill you outright, it makes you stronger and wiser. And eventually, when your body starts falling apart, you might not be stronger anymore, but you continue to get wiser. Until your mind goes, and then you're just out of luck. But anyway, this has been an episode for randomizations. So aside from the randomizations, I told you that these series are gonna. I'm going to try to go more toward a storytelling format. Now, how does that work? What am I looking at? I'm going to move all of these down into our storage. Now, I need to, not just the rocks. Now that we have a whole bunch more storage, we need to start moving everything down there. And even I haven't convinced myself to just rely solely on Ars Nouveau as my intake and outtake, so I'm still gonna manually put stuff in and do it in an organized way so I can find it again. So right now I'm gonna go put the saplings in with the spruce saplings we already have down there, and that'll keep it all organized. That's just the way I like to do it. So, and ultimately, that's probably how it's going to be. I might prove that it does indeed work exactly like I say it does, but I might not take advantage of it because I'm just, you know, a fuddy-duddy set in my ways. And I still like everything in its place and labeled. Let me move these down here. Anyway, I was talking about storytelling. Yeah. So where I'm at right now is I've kind of made up my mind that at least for some series I'm going to do this. In fact, at the moment I'm leaning toward doing it with almost all the series. And with the storytelling though, you got to have a story to tell. But to have a story to tell, you kind of got to figure out the whole setting, the characters, the premise, the backstory. Where do we pick up? And then of course I have the added trick of kind of like coming up with a proper story in the middle of the movie, right? So, like in this case, like I said, we're in episode 25 or 26, and that's a lot of water under the bridge already. And the story's kind of got to pick up from there. So, you know, how do I do it? Do I start over or what? And I think I'm leaning toward a soft reboot. So, more on that at a later date, you know. But that's the type of thing I'm thinking through right now. What would that encompass? And all that jazz. But as far as today goes, I think there it is, right? So I was kind of hoping to have this space filled up by the end of this episode. And, I wasn't goofing off. I mean, actually, the whole series is me goofing off. But, I mean, you know what I mean, right? I wasn't, like, getting all sidetracked, chasing down creepers or anything. I was on task all through this episode. Not on topic, but certainly on task. And this is as far as we got. But I do have some homework to do before the next episode to figure out how these mod interactions are working. And then once I can confirm what the actual behavior is, then I need to figure out if and what I'm going to do about it. So, and some of you guys might have some ideas about that too. So by all means, share with me in the comments. I want to hear from you. I want to know you're there. Liking is great. Subscribing is great. Commenting, watching the video, I guess, is probably best, but commenting is a close second. So let me know what you think. Let me know you're out there. Let me know if you appreciate it. Let me know if you like dad humor. And if you don't like it, don't tell me that. No, you can tell me, but it's dad humor. You know how dads deal with that? They just say, yeah, okay, and it doesn't make any difference whatsoever. But with all that said, I hope you come back to the next episode, and until then, I hope that this finds you and yours in good health, good spirits, and perhaps just a touch of good fortune. Cheers.